I was so determined. I was so determined not to be stopped.
What I feel is an achievement. It's what God gives you.
I will have to drive all the way to Isolo and sell my 6 bottles of juices.
One of the things that happens to children when their parents are separated or divorced is if one parent could leave, they just believe that the other parent can also leave.
I'm one of those girls who's been encouraged by men all my life.
I scored the highest mark, but they refused to take me because I'm from the West.
I think one of the things that has kept me going, honestly speaking, is hard work.
When I presented the CP wheelchair, you need to see how she jumped at me.
I think the most important one for me was learning to stand up for myself.
Previously on Inhawords.
So at a point, we decided to build our website and we used the hashtag closer to you. That was even way before the pandemic and people needed to start doing stuff online. I think we just had this foresight and we developed the website. I think I should say this. At the point when we developed our website was just before the recession that took place about 4 or 5 years ago. So for the first 1 year, nothing happened. It was like, why did we spend so much money developing the website? And I'd mentioned previously that being a student of computer science has helped to shape me. So by virtue of the fact that I studied computer science, I was determined to have a website that would be up to a world-class standard. And I think we tried in that department, even if I say so by myself. So we did the hashtag closer to you. And then it's even got better with the advent of Instagram and other social media pages. So that's how our growth has been, from mixing with our hands, gradually to having our own oven, our own industrial mixers. And then from employing people who were just my age mates, all of us just trying to find a living for ourselves, we've been able to employ different people. Raising my kids is perhaps the most challenging yet the most rewarding thing that I have ever done. So when they were younger and I still had my marriage, this was what I did. I insisted on working from home. I did not see the point of working for myself and not being available for my children. So I was not keen on getting a store anywhere. I wanted to be there with them. I wanted them to wake up to me and meet me when they come back from school. So what we would usually do then to keep them busy, someone was asking me the other day was, while I decorated the cakes, I had a small table and chair, just by a corner, and I would give them some of the sugar paste that feels like plasticine. So they would be playing with it while I was decorating my cakes. And subconsciously, I did not realize at the time that I was helping them to develop creative skills that would be of use to them later on in the future. I just felt like, just get them busy so that they're not in the way, So that was how I started with raising the kids. And I also remember when I moved shop, we were somewhere in Ogba, and then I moved shop to Ikoyi. For about 2 or 3 months, I was doing that movement from one end of town to the other. And I remember I would get home in the night, sometimes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, my children will have gone to bed. And I just couldn't deal with it. My mind couldn't handle it. So that was what made me decide to move closer to the side of town where my store was located. So I could still pick them up. I could still take them to school in the morning and bring them to meet me in the shop. Now, that had its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages in the sense that they still had the sense that their mom was available for them. Disadvantage in the sense that I wasn't too comfortable with them being around the reception area when the customers are coming in. I felt that was too much exposure for them. So they were literally locked up in my office. But somehow we found a way to make it work, and I believe it did work. So I literally had the opportunity to raise my kids by myself. I tried to ensure that everything we were doing was around the same vicinity. The schools were close to the store, and we were going to the office together and coming back in the evening together. I think that worked for us. And then when they were going to go to secondary school, I put them in a boarding school, but I ensured that it was a boarding school that was inside town, because I understood that by virtue of the nature of my job, it may not be easy for me to go outside of Lagos to go visiting them. And there was something I also ensured that I did. I never missed a visiting day. Never. The once or twice that I did miss a visiting day was either because the school changed the visiting day without telling me, or on another occasion, I took a wedding cake somewhere outside Lagos and we were stuck on the road, and I still did my own visiting day the following day.
You are watching Inhawords on W, where all women share their story and experience. Keep watching W. W, everything woman.
Follow us on all our social media page at W Now. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at W Now. Hit the notification bell to get new updates. Keep watching W, everything woman.
Still to come.
Another thing I would like to also mention at this point is, in the process of raising my kids, one of the things I learned is how to help a child find their X factor. I call it the X factor, you know. I mean, there's a program on TV called X Factor, and I believe it talks about finding what someone is good at and nurturing it. You know, I noticed as they were growing older that I had two completely different personalities in my children. One was very outspoken. The younger one, she's the one that has the mic every time. She's the one that can give a speech. She's the one that can express herself. And the older one was quieter, reserved. But I knew there was strength in there. And I also knew that it was challenging for him to grow up in a household where his younger sister was getting all the prizes, you know. And I had to pay attention to that.
You are watching W, the woman channel that brings you all the facts, figures, and information about women. W, everything women.
Woman, adult female human species. Very positive, built to overcome obstacles. Strong-minded, yet soft-hearted. Almost always driven by a cause. Over 765 million of the world's 796 million illiterates are women. 60% of chronically hungry people are female. 33,000 underage girls get married every day. Can the disparity be closed? Yes, it can. It will take 108 years journey if we start now. Should we give up on the journey? No, we can't. We all need to keep the walk and talk on. Watch W as we walk the gap. W, everything woman.
More especially because they were now from a separated family, as in their dad was not around any longer. It was important to me that they did not feel abandoned, because one of the things that happens to children when their parents are separated or divorced is this sense of abandonment. If one parent could leave, they just believe that the other parent can also leave, no matter what you tell them. So I didn't just want to say it with my mouth. I wanted to show it in my actions, that no matter what happens, I'm always here. So that, and that's also another reason why I did not change my surname. I didn't want a situation whereby we're probably getting to the airport or something like that, and people are like, okay, maybe the custom officer is like, what's your name? They mention one surname, I mention another surname, and they're looking about, you know. I didn't want that. That it was important to me that they had that stability. And I can tell you now that they're older, they're actually the ones saying, Mommy, you need to go and remarry. Because now I think they are confident in the fact that she's got our back. So that was very critical. It was very, very important to me. And another thing I would like to also mention at this point is, in the process of raising my kids, one of the things I learned is how to help a child find their X factor. I call it the X factor, you know. I mean, there's a program on TV called X Factor, and I believe it talks about finding what someone is good at and nurturing it. You know, I noticed as they were growing older that I had two completely different personalities in my children. One was very outspoken. The younger one, she's the one that has the mic every time. She's the one that can give a speech. She's the one that can express herself. And the older one was quieter, reserved. But I knew there was strength in there. And I also knew that it was challenging for him to grow up in a household where his younger sister was getting all the prizes, you know. And I had to pay attention to that. So my kids grew up being told every single day, you're very intelligent. Do you know you're very intelligent? Do you know you're very smart? I made up my mind, and I'm not a huggy person. I didn't grow up being hugged, but I learned to hug them. For instance, no matter how busy I was in the store, the instant my children come in from the shop, even if there were 10, 15 customers waiting to collect their cakes, I would make sure I pause for 2 minutes. They had to get a hug, and I had to look into their eyes to ask them, how was your day at school today? So for me, motherhood has been really interesting. It's been a journey. It's been interesting to see how each one of them has evolved. Each one of them has found their strength. The very one that was the one that was quieter and reserved is suddenly doing animations today. He's suddenly writing songs. Sometimes I see the wordings, the lyrics of his songs, and I'm like, did you steal it? Where did you get these lyrics from? And what I learned from that is that everybody has different ways of expressing themselves. And as a mother, a father, a parent, a guardian, even just some children that are not ours, but they're just around us, you know, it's our responsibility to help that child find out what makes you tick. In what environment does the child suddenly become very expressive, and help nurture that particular gift so that the child can fulfill and dare to be everything that he wants to be.
You are watching In Her Words on W, where all women share their story and experience. Keep watching W. W, everything woman.
Follow us on all our social media page at W Now. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at W Now. Hit the notification bell to get new updates. Keep watching W, everything woman.
Next time on In Her Words.
The most important thing is that our needs are met. It doesn't matter from where. I felt like it would be self-destructive if I went down that path of saying he has to bring something. If he doesn't bring something, and then gets also bitter and gets all... I just felt like there are only 24 hours in a day, and everybody has a limited amount of energy. So it was important to me to use my energy for the right things. So I'd rather channel my energy running my business, raising my kids, ensuring that we're fine, rather than spend that same amount of energy being bitter, doing I wish, or having regrets. Truth is, this is where we are right now. There's nothing we can do about it. However, it can get better. So I sold this to my children, that a threefold cord is not easily broken, that if we hold each other's hands, we will be fine.